Oh, there we go. Wait a minute. They're over on YouTube and Facebook. I probably should have added myself to the stage. Would have been helpful, don't you think? Um, anyway, here we are now. Here we are now. Hopefully, everyone can see me over on YouTube now. Let's see. What's my daily driver? Right now, I'm driving a GLE 53 AMG. Bryce, when appraising a car as a trade-in, how much do you take off if it's not a surface level scratch, but a deep scratch that requires probably that panel to be repainted, etc.? Bryce, it's just going to depend on what car it is and what paint it is. But generally, it's going to cost $500-600 to get something like that fixed. Unfortunately, and remember, paint work. If you've got to repaint one panel, you probably have to repaint another, maybe even two more to get it blended properly. Highest car payment you've seen, Brandon? I had a video that went up yesterday where we had a Maybach that had over a $5,000 car payment. Don, greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hopefully you can see now. Is Tommy coming on the podcast? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. In fact, I was scheduled to film with him today and had some technical difficulties in this new studio space that I'm in right now. We did get them resolved, but I might have missed the window of time to be able to talk to Tommy today. So might have to get him here in the very near future. But yes, Tommy is going to be on the podcast, as is at some point Billy the Car Kid. If any of you follow him, he does essentially the exact same thing that Tommy does. And I find their place in the automotive industry and their business model is very fascinating because they operate in kind of a niche that really hasn't existed. I mean, there's always been people that have kind of helped people buy cars, right? But there's been more of a traditional brokerage model, and they don't really follow that. So, Russell, hi, what's going on? How's the demand been for the S-Class? Can you speak towards the future of the S-Class? Russell, I'd say demand has been very steady. That car, there's only ever going to be so much demand for a $130,000 to $150,000 luxury sedan like that. However, next year, big facelift coming for the S-Class. Next year is going to be a really exciting year for Mercedes-Benz in general, tons of new product. So we will have a new S-Class next year. And whenever that car gets redesigned or majorly facelifted, it tends to be very big for sales, right? Because people that have that kind of money to spend on a car, they want the newest of the new generally, right? S-Classes are kind of funny to me. They always have existed in either people that have to have the shiny new toy, like it is the pinnacle of a luxury sedan. And then as it ages a little bit, there are people that only drive it when they can get like a really tremendous deal on it. There's almost never been kind of in between drivers of the S-Class. Trevor, thank you. I appreciate that. Mark, can you please tell me who is in the pic behind your desk with a classic Benz? Those are two random people. I don't know. The photographer who took the picture is Slim Aarons. You've probably seen a lot of his artwork before without even realizing it, but I don't know who the people are. Frank, when I hit the lottery, I'll be buying a Mercedes-Benz. All right, Frank, I love it. Let's go, brother. With good enough LTV and high enough down payment, anything will be approved, Lucas. Generally speaking, that's true, yes. But I've seen even some scenarios that on paper looked like there's no way this won't get approved, and still somehow they don't get approved. But Jordan, department is getting out of hand all around the world. Just buy used and cheap. Okay. BNAM works at MB in Bloomington, Illinois. We sell maybe 5 Mercedes a month max. Yes, that is a small store. But I do appreciate you being here. Jake Harris, what's going on, brother? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that. Randy, your team was very kind when speaking with me about a lead. Good crew. Awesome, Randy. I'm very happy to hear that. Mercedes SLS or SLR, which would you choose? I would take an SLS Black Series. I do love the SLR quite a bit, but I don't think anything matches the majesty of a Gullwing, right? Mercedes-Benz is the Gullwing, and the SLS is the Gullwing model, and it's just, I mean, there's nothing like it. So thank you to everybody who's here hanging out today. Happy Thursday. If you're not following already, would love and appreciate a follow, and thanks to everybody who hits the like button and the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot, and I do appreciate it. Darkhawk Delivered bought a Range Rover dealer to their knees last night. Very interesting. I bet he did. Tommy has a way of really finding just the worst dealers out there, and rightfully, look, I know that some people watch his content and they feel like he paints dealers in an unfair light, but I would argue that they do that. The dealers do that to themselves. Ryan, how can I transition from a buy here, pay here to something like selling at MB? Best advice I can give you is just find a dealership, let them know that you want to do it. I mean, a good one will take a chance on you. Sorry, just a moment. Hey, dude, deciding on leasing after educating myself on your vids here and on Facebook. Keep it up. That's awesome. I love that. Congratulations. Do you think the G-Class will have a major refresh anytime soon? No, it just got the major refresh for 2025. Sam, do you think the Sealy will ever be a pillarless? I have a 23 E450 coupe and I love that look better. I don't think so, Sam. I mean, it's an all-new model. I mean, it could one day in a new generation be redesigned as a pillarless coupe, but at least in the very near and medium future, I don't see that happening. Jake goes by Car Guy. Jake, I was on the live video with you and Texas Car Guy. Let's see. Yeah, you're a car sales guy. I remember that. I've been really focusing on a project. I have a business network. And do you have a preferred purchase program with any local businesses? We have a ton of relationships with local businesses in Cleveland. Yes, absolutely we do. How much can I sell my 2019 E63 for? Would love to take a look at it. Pavi, is it a Canadian car based on you quoting it to me in kilometers? Either way, we're interested. We'd be happy to make you an offer on it. But if it is a Canadian car, that does impact its value a little bit. And Lewis is I'm guessing, sales manager from the UK. Love your videos. Awesome, Lewis. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Scotty, serious question. Is a CLA 250 worth it or just save for a better car? I mean, it's impossible to answer questions like that because it all comes down to personal preference and cars are totally subjective. But what I would say to you is that the CLA is a really great entry into the brand, right? You just have to temper your expectations, right? It is the entry-level car for a reason. So it's not going to have all of the same luxury features and fit and finish that you'll get as you go further up the ladder. But it is still a fantastic entry point to the brand, and they're very inexpensive to maintain relative to some of our more expensive stuff. Dean, 3 times a week. Tommy reminds me why I haven't walked into a dealership or into a car lot in 22 years. We need more dogs. Dean, I appreciate that. Always good to see you here, and thank you for your support over the years. The YouTube channel, by the way, just recently crossed over 25,000 subscribers, which is super cool. I feel very proud of that accomplishment. And thank you to everybody who is watching me on YouTube. I know a lot of you, I have, a bunch more followers on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and the like. So if you're not following me on YouTube or subscribe to me there, I would love and appreciate that as well, because as you will find, a lot of you will ask for longer videos, and you can find those on YouTube, right? Because YouTube likes the longer videos. So some of it will be things you've already seen, but there are longer videos there as well. So thank you to everybody that has supported me on YouTube. I love that. Dave Ramsey doesn't lease his vehicles. He pays cash. In his latest appearance on the Tucker Carlson podcast, he stated explicitly that he would rather take the bus than have a car payment. HKMR, all I know is that somebody that worked for Lexus Financial, they could have been lying. I don't know. But at one point in time, Dave Ramsey did have leases through Lexus. So that's the information I was given. Obviously, I have no way of verifying it. But yeah, anyway. So Kaiser, I love watching your videos. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, my friend. What's the oldest car you have in inventory? Well, we have a 1960 Jaguar in inventory. What do you think of the EQ E53, Nikki? I'm a big fan of all of our EQ products, especially the AMGs. Your bow tie's crooked. Yes, Dinah, that tends to happen, unfortunately. These self-tie bow ties, they're just kind of they've always got a mind of their own. And I do my best to keep them, on a straight level here, but they always want to get a little crazy, right? So I'll try to straighten it out for you. And I know that some of you that have really rough OCD, and I get it, that might be tough for you to look at, but it just kind of, it kind of is what it is. So, but I do appreciate you pointing it out. Does the GLE have a digital rear view mirror? No, we don't have a digital rear view mirror in the GLE. Does Mercedes have anything third row in the 60 to 70K price point? Well, Michael, you can get a GLE with the third row package, and it would be tough to keep it in that price range. You would be probably just outside of it. I mean, it would probably be possible to get a very basely equipped car with third row around 70K. But for mid 70s, you could get a very nicely equipped third row GLE. Do you have a Beamer? No. Well, we have several that we take in on trade. I've owned one in the past. I had an E46 M3 back in the day. But let's see. Abid, hi, Doug. I am Abid Reyes. I work here at Toyota of Montgomery, and we listen to your content here very often. Very encouraging. Let me know when you're ready to trade me out of a 2024 Toyota 4Runner Limited for a G550. I appreciate that you watch the videos. That means a lot. Thank you for your support. And I would be happy to help you at any time on a G550. We'd love to have your 4Runner, and I promise that I'll get mad on camera about how much it's worth. But no, I'm just joking around. JMac, is the CLE the largest convertible offered? Yes, we had 3 4-seat convertible variants up to a few years ago. We had a C-Class, an E-Class, and an S-Class convertible. But Mercedes-Benz realized that Americans, and really people around the world in general, are buying less and less sports cars. And so they consolidated all of those classes down into just one class of car, which is the CLE. Suits straight out of the Five Below bargain bin. Yeah, probably. This is actually just Macy's off the rack. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is Joseph A. Bank. So probably off the Joseph A. Bank bargain bin. Yeah, and this really isn't a suit. This is more of a blazer. But yes, I've been very upfront about my disdain for paying for nice suits. I wear them every day, and they just don't last no matter how nice they are. So I just don't see the point. They all look okay-ish. Donnie, how many sales a month, if you had to guess, do you get from TikTok? I would say it's between 20 and 30 a month. And that's kind of for the whole store. I mean, it's honestly, it's tough to track all of them properly, because a lot of people will come through the store as leads from either our website directly or third-party websites, and they kind of got onto that path from the social media, but we might not necessarily attribute it properly to the social media. So do you own an AMB, or do you just drive what you want off the lot? So Randy, I do get a demo as a part of being the general sales manager for a dealership. Do you believe microwaves were introduced to the household to alter brain chemistry in children? Eddie, wow, I don't believe that, but I mean, that's a pretty wild question, but I appreciate you being here anyway. What's a good Benz model that, let's see, I missed that there. Oh, I lost it. You guys do any Massachusetts deals? Yes, we do. Yeah, the Massachusetts registrations are a real joy. How do you feel about naturally aspirated V8 Mercedes? Well, I think the way I feel about them is how most people feel about them, which is they are some of the most epic V8 engines in the entire world. And especially from a sound and feel perspective, I think we all wish that we could have naturally aspirated V8s for eternity. But for emissions reasons and efficiency reasons, the governments of the world wanted more efficiency, and so Mercedes, like pretty much every other manufacturer, was forced to downsize their engines and turbocharge them. So for those that don't know, naturally aspirated engines don't have either a turbocharger or a supercharger, right? So they don't have forced air for extra power. So they tend to be much larger displacement, so cylinder size is larger, and they tend to be a lot louder. But they're significantly less efficient. Is Mercedes your personal favorite brand, or do you have another favorite brand? No, Beamer, it's definitely my favorite brand. It was, I've been with the brand for nearly 15 years now. And when I got into car sales, I briefly was with a Ford store for a couple of months. and fell in love with it, and then realized I wanted to sell my favorite brand and represent luxury cars, and I picked Mercedes-Benz, because to me, when I thought of like kind of the what is the luxury car, I thought Mercedes. Now that is not to say that I don't have a lot of other cars that I love, because I do. I really love BMWs. BMWs are great cars in it, and I love Porsche. Audis are I like. They're I wouldn't say on the same level for me as BMW or Porsche is, but and then there's just all kinds of cool cars sprinkled throughout many manufacturers that I really love. But yeah, BMW is fantastic. Absolutely, great cars, great cars. I just think that that Mercedes offers the best blend of luxury and sportiness and technology, and they also just they have something for everyone. I mean, BMW has a very vast model lineup as well, but man, Mercedes, there's not one stone left unturned in that model lineup, that's for sure. And Kelly is correct. They did invent the automobile as well, so the history of the brand is second to none. Let's see. Juan Patino. Hey, Doug, been watching your videos since you started. Oh, since starting in the business 2 months ago. I'm at Toyota over here in California. I'm at 7 cars for the month. What is your best advice for someone starting? Juan, thank you for watching and welcome to the car business. The best advice, and I'm very consistent in this, is two things. One, talk to everybody you possibly can. Sales is a numbers game in the sense that the more people you talk to, the more cars you have an opportunity to sell, right? You can't, if you don't ever talk to somebody, you can't sell them a car. That's just kind of how it goes. Two is you need to find whoever the top salesperson is at the dealership that you work for and shadow them, right? Spend time around them, pick their brain, listen to them, watch them with clients, figure out what they do on a daily basis, because success leaves clues, right? If I want to do something better than I'm doing it now, then I look to people that are already doing it better than me. And that's how I get better. And that's the advice that I would give to you. Number three, okay, and this one is huge. Every car dealership has at least one, if not multiple people that just have a bad attitude, and they love to sit around and complain. And this is really true for any workplace, but the people that have the bad attitude in the dealership, a lot of times they're going to be low performers, but not always. I've seen high performers with bad attitudes, but the people that complain, that blame everything other than themselves for a lack of success, stay away from those people. They want to drag you down. Misery loves company. Jordan, how about chapstick? That would be a great idea, Jordan. I do need chapstick badly. If you have any, send it my way. Appreciate it. I don't trust no man with some facial without some facial hair. Okay. Interesting, because I actually had I rocked facial hair for many, many years. But somebody once told me, and I think I've read this before, that actually most or many human beings don't trust people with facial hair, that it's actually a sign of distrust, which is interesting. So it looks like you look at it the other way, which hey, it is. To each their own. Abercrombie, thoughts on the GLE? Love the GLE. Probably my favorite overall model class that we have. So many different flavors and variants of the GLE. Very adaptable car. Big fan. They're extremely reliable. In fact, I noticed on a Carfax yesterday when I was appraising a Carfax on a 2018 GLE that it had a great reliability score. Right. So I think reliability score is a new thing that you're seeing on Carfax now, which is pretty cool. But and I've always known that about GLEs. They're rock solid cars. They tend to be our Goldilocks car in the sense that for families or even people that are downsizing, they tend to be that really awesome size that sort of checks all the boxes for a lot of people. Let's see. What percentage of room do dealerships have to mark prices down? Well, that depends on a variety of factors. It depends on the brand that they sell. It also depends on their own store, right? So every brand has a maximum margin that a dealer can earn selling a car, but that doesn't mean that every dealer earns all of that margin, right? There's a lot of things. Let's just say, for round numbers, if a manufacturer had a 10% margin that you could earn selling their car, okay? Now, maybe 5% of that would be from MSRP to invoice. That's a guarantee. Every dealer that represents that brand would be able would be able to buy the car from the manufacturer for that invoice price, and they would have a 5% profit opportunity. Okay. The other 5%, which a lot of you all know as holdback, right? That's kind of the term there. Holdback is not a guarantee. There are all kinds of metrics and KPIs and requirements that must be met to earn that holdback, whatever it is. Okay, a lot of times a facility requirement is part of it, right? So if the brand has facility requirements in that it has to be so the dealership has to look a certain way. It has to have been updated in a certain way. If that is not up to date, if it's not in compliance, that could be worth 2% margin that dealership doesn't earn. There's all kinds of new and used and sales metrics that must be met, service metrics that must be met, CSI, which is customer satisfaction. So there's a lot that goes into it. So it's not a question that you can just answer easily. Interim Bliss, love the interview with Yusuf. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening or watching, whatever you did. For those of you who don't know, the Doug Horner Show is my new podcast that launched about a month ago. And it's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm very excited about it. It's on YouTube as the Doug Horner Show. It's also on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you can stream podcasts. And it's, if you ever want to see kind of me have conversations with other people in the industry, specifically people that make automotive content, I would love for you to check it out, right? The episode 3 with Ride with Yusuf, who a lot of you I'm sure have seen. And what I like about him is that he's very much like me in that we are putting out very behind the scenes, transparent oriented content, which not everybody in the industry loves, but I love it. So thank you, Interim Bliss, for watching the podcast, and to anybody else, would love you to check it out. Would appreciate it very much. Cody, what is the fastest way to get promoted to a desk manager or desk manager? Been in sales for 6 years. Well, Cody, a couple things. First thing that you got to do is make sure that your team knows that that's something that you'd like to do, right? Raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to climb the ladder, become a manager. What are the things that you need to see from me to help make that happen, right? Because one, if they don't know, hard for them to potentially help you to make that jump. And two, if there are things you're not doing right now that they want to see to help you make that leap, you're going to want to know what they are. But the best answer I can give you, and this is kind of a hard one, is that you really just have to make yourself the obvious choice for a promotion like that. Okay. You've got to be able to, like, for example, if we have a management position that we need to fill that opens up internally, what we do is we look at our sales team and we say, who on the sales team, if anybody, is ready for that jump? And these are going to be salespeople that are very self-sufficient, that help their fellow teammates without being asked, right? If people are going to somebody else on the sales team for help and advice, that to me is the sign of a budding manager, right? If you're the salesperson and everyone on the team doesn't like you, doesn't go to you for help, ask you any questions, that's not a good sign. Yeah, lip balm. Yes, I know. I really do need some lip balm. I do appreciate the reminder. I'll make sure to hit the store this afternoon. Dale, Doug, love the video with 5 things you want to change about dealers in 2025. Can you make one for, I'm assuming you meant 2026. I definitely will make one for 2026. And some of the things, I will try to change it up as best I can, because some of the things that were on the video for 2025 would probably be carryover to 2026, because some of them are kind of works in progress. But yeah, the automotive industry still there's a lot of great dealers out there, but there's still a lot of ones that are not great. And we need to do everything we can to help move the needle. Zach, here's a hot take: promote that person. How do you replace their production? Well, Zach is a general manager. So that's the thing. So here's one of the greatest fears that a lot of leaders have. And this is something that I've seen managers over the years that I think have handled this wrong, where instead of they didn't want to promote somebody because they didn't want to have to worry about replacing their production. So I'll give you an example. Let's say your very best performing salesperson might be the best choice to become a manager. And by the way, that's not a given, right? Just because you're the top salesperson does not mean that you would be a good manager, right? Because it's different skill sets. But let's say that that role was needed, right? You need to fill a sales manager position, and you're thinking about hiring or promoting your best salesperson, but then they don't do it because, oh, do we really want to lose 15 to 20 sales off the sales floor every month? And to me, that's the wrong way of looking at it, right? You've always got to be thinking about I need to put the best person in this role that has a lot of people underneath them, right? I want the higher up the ladder, I need the better and better and better people. And we can always backfill in the sales team, right? But I've seen a lot of people who have not been able to get promoted over the years because they were very good at what they did. And the general manager didn't want to lose that person, right? Yeah, exactly, Zach. I mean, it always you're giving opportunities to other people to grow. And the funny thing about car dealerships is that you tend to be able to replace production that you lose from one person. It just sort of gets spread out kind of around the other people. And trust me when I tell you that if you've got a really good salesperson, if they become a manager, there are people that insist on working with them are still going to reach out to them, right? But yeah, always promote the best person. Charlie, love your content. It's mind blowing to see how many people get themselves so far upside down. Kudos to you for being straightforward and honest. Charlie, I appreciate that. It is absolutely mind blowing every day. Shane, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. The Shane train is in the house. Let's see. Dax, I'm looking to buy my first car from a dealership. All of my last cars have been cash cars on Facebook Marketplace. What should I look out for as far as extra fees, and what is a reasonable doc fee? Well, Dax, so doc fees are going to vary based on the state where you're buying the car. I would Google what those rules are. There are a few states that don't have capped doc fees, like Florida being notorious for being one of them. But most states have regulated doc fees, which means they cannot be above a certain level. So anywhere from $150 to $500 is pretty normal. Anything above $500 is getting up to be pretty high. So Shane, I appreciate that. Schmitty, hello from Washington State. What's going on? I appreciate you stopping by to say hello. Shane, am I allowed on the Shane train? Yeah, Shane Fredrickson absolutely is allowed on the Shane train. Yeah, Shane, I appreciate you. Shane is a fun guy. Dean, talk text messed that up, but you get the point. Oh, let's see. I'm sorry. I think you might have asked a question that I missed. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I'm not seeing one. Maybe it was somebody else that asked it. Anyway, what else is going on? Adam, great content. Love your videos and advice. I appreciate you hanging out. Shane, Merry Christmas to you as well. I appreciate that. Did you have access to an AMG 1 allocation? Yeah, Wally, we actually had 3 before the car turned out not to be. They couldn't get it certified for sale in the US, right? So because of the very unique design of that car, they weren't able to get it to meet the US standards. And so unfortunately, the 3 allocations that we have turned out not to be because you couldn't sell it in the US. Ryan, do you sell a lot to Pittsburgh? Yeah, we have a lot of clients from the Pittsburgh area, right? Pittsburgh's not very far away from Cleveland, so we do sell a bunch into that market, not too uncommon for sure. How much has business increased since you started posting videos? Well, Jim, that's a great question. Kind of a hard one to answer right now because I'm about a year and a half into doing this, but it's been a very difficult year for the industry. And so it's kind of hard I'll tell you this, tons and tons and tons of leads and people that have reached out and have driven and flown and come to buy cars from us. It's been amazing, truly. Business from this year to last year has been pretty level. And I think a lot of that but that's also, I'm talking about for Mercedes. This is not speaking for every manufacturer, but Mercedes is in a year of kind of like a year of finality before a lot of new vehicles launch next year. And so you usually have a lot of people that are waiting for that kind of that new shiny toy. So whatever the case, I think by the end of next year, we'll have a much better gauge of what the real impact has been. But it's been staggering how many people have reached out. It's been truly amazing, and I feel very blessed. Uh, Randy, how do you handle the logistics of increased online leads and sales? So we just have to be very on point with our process. Our BDC team is our first point of contact for leads that come into the store. Eddie, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. So the leads that come into the store, they go through the BDC team. If they're able to kind of make a connection there, then they'll pass it off to sales. But it's a lot of leads that come in, and so we've got to be ready at all times to take those and get back to people. I mean, it's a work in progress. We're actively growing our team because we definitely need more good people to handle the influx of leads, for sure. We absolutely do. So that has been a huge priority here at the end of the year, and something that we'll be working on for 2026. But yeah, absolutely. John, yes, Bernie did used to own the dealership. Is there a Hennessy build or anything spicy for Mercedes that you could get for your wife's first mom car? Wow. A Hennessy anything for the first mom car would be pretty wild. We have lots of spicy cars, but nothing quite like that. I would recommend maybe a GLS 63 AMG, right? That's about the fastest way you could possibly move a family around. Andrew, hi from Alaska. What's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in all the way from Alaska. I appreciate that very much. Uh-oh, did we lose sound again? Hold up. No, I think we're back. Josh from the UK. Do you sell cars in Louisiana? Yes, Daryl. Absolutely. We've sold cars into Louisiana. Absolutely. We've sold cars just about everywhere. We really truly have. Irish, enjoy the videos. Doug, what are your thoughts on the auto industry in the macro? Seem to be some red flags popping up. Curious on your perspective. I think that overall, this has been kind of a transitory year. We've just been, interest rates have been coming down little by little, and incentives have been coming back. So I'm very optimistic for next year. I think 2025 has been a year of, it was difficult because the whole tariff thing kind of came out of nowhere, right? So the tariff announcement by the administration in the spring just sort of threw everything into a complete, it was totally unexpected. So as a result of that, there's been just like the entire year has been trying to react to that, figure out what's going to be going on. Our price is going to go up. How, what's the long-term impact going to be? So it's just been a tough year, but I feel like the dust is settling there now. And next year, I am optimistic that it's going to be a much more predictable and good year. Justin, I've owned a BMW and then Mercedes, now back to BMW. What in your mind makes Mercedes superior? Justin, I would never say that Mercedes is superior, right? I don't believe that. I just think that it's the best overall blend of luxury, tech, and performance. But cars are totally subjective. That's the beauty of them, is that we can all agree to disagree on which one is best. So I just would put Mercedes up against any brand, but I understand why some people like BMW better, right? I totally get that. So Joseph it was funny to hear you talk about doc fees and mention Florida. I'm a sales consultant in Florida and I see doc fees up to $1,500. Yeah, I mean, Joseph, it's pretty wild down in Florida what the doc fees become. So a very common thing that I see from Florida dealers is that they will undercut prices from elsewhere on like the discount side by maybe 1% or 2%, and then they make it back and then some with these just bananas doc fees, right? So that's why when you hear about out the door prices, it's so important to be to get that out the door price, because the selling price is great until or unless there's all kinds of outrageous fees or aftermarket products that you didn't ask for that get built into the deal, right? So you definitely need to get all of that information before you can make an efficient decision, and that's what the out-the-door price is going to give you. So when do you think the new CLA will come to the US, Paxton? It's here now. It should be launching anytime. If we don't see it by the end of the year, then I expect that we'll start to see it early next. Alex, I'm glad you like the bow tie. This is a fun one. Why not just have the price with all the is that BS in the first place? I'm not sure what the question was. Alex, doc fees are $9.99 in Maryland, and a dealer will flat out lie to your face and tell you it's a state required fee. It's not a required fee, but dealers are allowed to charge it, and there's no dealer would not charge it, right? Does the service or sales departments have better revenue generation? Service, by far. By far. Tiny Tom, my dad is a sales rep from a local Chevy dealership, but found 2 Corvettes for him and his brother. And the high ground, do you think you'll always stay in the car business? I mean, I believe I will. Right? I mean, I can't predict the future, but this business has been everything to me. It's given me everything, and I love it, and I want to find a way to make it a part of my life forever. I mean, it just is. It's one of the greatest industries in the world and greatest businesses in the world, and the fact that there, in my opinion, is so much upside in the sense that there's still so many bad dealers out there, so many bad actors, so many people who just go about this business the wrong way. It just gives me the motivation to do whatever I can to go out there and fix it. So it might be a uphill battle forever and ever and ever, but it's one that I feel like is worth taking on, right? Because I believe that it doesn't have to suck to buy a car. It should be fun. It should be easy, and it's not hard to make it fun and easy. But a lot of dealers still seem to have trouble doing that. Alicia, I feel like I annoy my GSM when he doesn't get back to me about deals that I'm working. Well, I mean, it's his job to get back to you about deals that you're working, so he needs to get better about that. Am I ready to see Josh Allen crush the Cleveland Browns this Sunday? I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm about as ready as I can ever be. Will Mercedes ever come out with a self-driving car? Oh, I'm sure they will. Mercedes-Benz, this might surprise you to know, but they have the best tech of any car company in the world, especially when it comes to the ability to kind of self-drive. It's just most of it's not legal yet, right? So we don't get access to it. We don't get to see it, right? Because as a legacy automaker, they play by a different set of rules than somebody like Tesla, for example. What are my thoughts about Carvana? I think Carvana is great. I think Carvana was hugely important for the automotive industry. I think dealers needed that. They needed somebody to keep them honest and force them to step up their game, especially from a trade appraisal standpoint. So I think that Carvana is a very good thing. I'm very happy that they're making the splash that they're doing, because it's forcing everybody to step up their game. Shout out Mercedes-Benz high power charging. There you go. CarMax, same way. CarMax is kind of the original Carvana, but they've become a little bit more relevant lately. But yeah, the same concept really. So thank you again to everybody who is here hanging out. Thank you for everyone who's a new follower today. Really appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who has hit the like button and the thumbs up button and the subscribe button, all the things, right? It's just always so fun to come on here and hang out with you all and answer your questions. And I try to do this as often as I can. It can prove to be a little bit difficult, but thank you to everybody who's been supportive. It means the world to me. And this has been just such a great joy for me to get to know all of you and to answer questions and to just kind of hopefully educate a little bit. Do you think FBZ will ever come back with a Black Series? Yes, Augie. Black Series will always launch at the end of any generation of AMG car. So Black Series will continue to be a thing for sure. Maximus, did the G63 4x4 sell? What are your predictions? So no, it has not yet. Very unique scenario here to get access to a brand new 2026 63. We're trying to find a home for it. Obviously, most people are trying to compare it to used ones, or even ones that are used and were bought back by the manufacturer, which means they've now got a branded title. So it's a very unique opportunity. We got to find the right buyer for it. So, well, perfect. Well, I'm gonna put a pin in it there. I'm gonna hop off. And Big Vintage, congratulations on your sales position that you just got off, or that you just got. But thank you to everybody. Lit Music, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that very much. Thank you to everyone who came and hung out today. And I really hope to get on here again really, really soon. And yeah, just always a pleasure. Hope you had fun. Maybe you learned something. If not, thanks for being here anyway. And until next time, talk to you later.